Welcome back programmers. In the today's section we are gonna talk about TensorFlow. In the previous video we saw a lots of stuff like basic maths operations, transforming tensors and so on. So in the today's section we are gonna focus on the rounding and comparisons. Now what is rounding and comparisons? Most of the mathematical routines in these books accept floating point values as input and return floating point values as output. But many applications need to convert floating point value into integer value. For this reason, TensorFlow provides the rounding operations listed in all of these functions. You can see in here round, int, cell, floor, maximum, minimum, argument max, argument minimum, and so on. So the first function is we are gonna use round. So round description is round to the nearest integer, rounding up if there are two nearest integer. So basically the round function examines each element of a tensor and return the closest integer. If two closest integer are equally close, it returns the one further from 0. So let's try a equal to np dot arrange 0 to 10 and r for round equal to tf dot round, and we are gonna pass the a, and then we are gonna print the first a, and then we are gonna print the r. So you can see r is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and same as a is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. It returns the closest integer. Now let's try to change this stuff. Array. So array element is like -1, 0, 2, -3, 4. Let's try now. You can see we got same elements in here and in here. But let's try float value. It returns the roundest nearest integer. If I enter 0.9, you can see we got 1. Why? Because nearest element of 0.9 is 1 integer. It returns the integer. So let's try again 2.5. So you can see we got 2 dot. So because nearest element is 2, let's try again 19.34. You can see we got 19 and so on. So if I enter 23.21, simply we are gonna get a 23. So that's the round function 2. It returns the round value, only integer value, not integer, because in here you can see we got 1 dot. It means this is a float value. If I do r dot d type, let's try. You can see we got float 64. So basically it returns the integer value, but the data type is float 64. Now let's add a final value to check out, -4.32. Let's try this. You can see we still got -4.32, but if I add a -4.99, we still got -4.99. So that's what round function do. Now let's change the function. Now let's talk about the int function. Rounds to the nearest integer, again rounding to the nearest even integer if there are two nearest integer. So in here when I change the value like 2.5, so you can see we got a still 2.5 because the nearest value is 2 and 3. So this is not gonna change. But if I enter 2.6, sorry, I got an error in here. Yes, can see we still got 2.6 because there is a 2 nearest value. So in here you can see round to the nearest integer, rounding up if there are 2 nearest integer. So in here you have to add like 2.9. Why the heck this error is? Yes, we got 3 in here, and if I change the value to 2.5 we got 2 in here, and if I change the value to 2.2 we still gonna get 2 because the nearest value is 2. But if I change to -9, you can see we still got -9, but I change to -9.9, we are gonna get -10. And when I enter 2.6, so we are gonna get 3 because the nearest value is 3. But if I add 2.5, so there is a 2 nearest value. For example, the nearest value of 2.5 is 2 and 3, because in here you can see 2.5 is here. So if we add 2.5, so round function is gonna give us a 2. But if we add 2.6, so you can see 2.6 is in this part, so it is gonna return a 3. If we added 2.4 or 2.3 or 2.1 or 2, so it is gonna return the 2. If we add 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 2.9 or 3, so it is gonna simply return 3. Now let's execute this command. So let's add 2.1, so it is gonna give us the 2. Now if let's try 2.7, so basically it is gonna give us a 3. Let's try this 2.7. So the round function is 3, but in here you can see 2.5 is the middle value. So in round function it returns the 2, but in rint, let's try rint tf.rint. TensorFlow has no attribute rint. Let's try again tf.rint. Okay, so TensorFlow has no attribute rint. So why are these showing in here? So again we have to use the math function tf.math.rint. So now let's pass the a and print the r. You can see we still got 2 in here. Let's change the value to 2.2. we still got 2, but if I change the value into 2.6, what do you think? What are we gonna get? Yes, we got 3. This is the same function as round. You can see we add 2.6, so 2.6 is in this part, 3. That's why we got 3. But in the definition you can see round to the nearest integer, rounding to the nearest even integer, even if there are 2 nearest integer. Okay, so in here if we got a 2 nearest integer, you can see we got a 2 even. Okay, now let's talk about cell. Return the smallest integer greater than the value. Let's try this. So in here I'm gonna create a equal to np.array. Let's pass the 2.3 and x equal to tf.sail. So let's try this sail. Okay, TensorFlow has no function sail, so we are gonna use math.sail, and now we are gonna pass the a, and then we are simply gonna print the x. You can see we got 3. Now why we got 3? Because it returns the smallest value greater than the smallest integer greater than the value. Let's change the value into 3. Okay, 4. You can see you got error. Oh, this is my CPU error. Let's change the value. Could not find the valid device for node. So this is giving me error because when I enter the integer value, CPU is not loading. So let's try the float value for now, 4.5. So then we are gonna simply got a 5 greater value. 5, it returns the smallest value integer greater than value. It returns the smallest value. So the 4.5. Let's first change the value to see the perfect function. Okay, 4.2. So in here 4.0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again in here 4.6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So the 10 is 5. So it returns the smallest value. So the 4.2 smallest value is 4. But in here the twist is it returns the smallest value greater than the value. It returns the smallest integer greater than the value. Okay, so it returns the 4.0. So the 4.0 greater than 4.2. So it's false. So simply it is gonna print the 5. You can see we got 5. So whenever I change the value, so it is gonna give us a 5. Let's try 4.9. Still 5. If I change the value into 4.1, still 4. Let's try 4.0. We got 4. Yes, because 4.0 is greater than, basically not greater than, 4.0 is equal to 4.0, but it returns the 4. Now let's change the value into 7.1. We are gonna get 8. Yes, let's change the 9.1. 10. Yes, let's try 9.999. 10. Boom. So what if I add multiple elements? Let's try 0.9 and 7.8. You can see we got 0.9 equal to 1 and 7.8 equal to 8. Now let's try the negative value. Let's add -1. Okay, CPU, this is the syntax error and this is the CPU error. We have to add a float value 1.9. You can see we got -1. Now in the minus, it is starting to from 0 to n value. So this is gonna return the minus value. So -1.9 is -1, and if I change -1.1, so still it is gonna give us a 1, -1. So let's try -9. So still it is okay. Float value again. Yes, -9.0. Let's try -9.9. Still -9.9. So this is the same as the round function. Now let's talk about, so now you got it what cell function do. Now let's talk about floor. Return the greater integer less than the value. So this is same as cell. It return the greater than value, it return the less than value. So now let's use this, and in here we are gonna just use floor. Okay, now let's run this code. You can see we got -10 because it returns the less than value. Let's do positive so you can understand better. If I enter my 1.2, you can see we got 1. If I change to -1.9, we still got 1 because it returns the less than value. Remember, cell returns the greater than value and floor returns the less than value. So now you got the point. So I'm gonna skip this floor. You can test in your computer. Now let's move on to the maximum. In here you can see maximum takes a 2 parameter, return a tensor containing the larger element of each input tensor. In here you can see two functions in the table. Maximum and minimum are easy to understand. Maximum return a tensor containing the larger element of each input tensor, and minimum return the tensor containing the smaller element of each input tensor. So now you know what maximum and minimum do. Let's say a equal to np dot array, and in here I'm gonna pass the 1 and 2. I'm gonna copy this, create a list again, array again, b equal to np dot array, and I'm gonna change the value into 3 and 4. Then I'm gonna create c equal to tf dot maximum, and I'm gonna pass the a and b, and then I'm gonna simply print the c. You can see we got 3 4 because the maximum is 3 4, and if I change this into a minimum, so you can see we got 1 and 2. But what if we change the value equally, like 1 and 2 and 1 and 2? You can see we got 1 and 2, and same on maximum. Now you got the point what maximum and minimum do. So let's try again. 1 and 2.1. You can see we still got 1.1 and 2 because the data type of C is integer 32. So it is not gonna check the float value. Let's try 2.9. Now you can see we got a 2.9, so it is check the float value. So why before we ain't got 2.1? Because 1 and 2 is maximum, then 1 and 2.1. Let's change the 2.0. Yes, we have to specify the data type in here too. So let's change the value. Now when I change this into 1.2, you can see we got 1.2 and 2.1. But if I change this in here 1.9, you can see we got 1.9 and 2.1. This is so interesting, because the maximum value is 1.9 in this part and 2.1 in this part. So it returns the different list values. For example, if I change 1 9 and in here 9 1, you can see we got 9 and 9, this 9 and this 9, and same as the minimum. Let's change in here. If I add, it's simply gonna return 1 and 1. You can see 1 and 1. Let's change into -1. You can see we got -11 and 1. So that's what maximum and minimum function do. Now let's move on into argmax and argminim. Argument maximum and argument minimum. So simply this is gonna return the index of the greatest element in the tensor, and in here you can see it returns the index of the smallest elements in the tensor. This is same as maximum and minimum, but it take a single tensor, not a single tensor, only one tensor, and it returns the greater and it returns the smallest element tensor. So now let's try in here. So I'm gonna copy this and paste this in here, and let's try now argmin and argmax. So m equal to np dot argmin and argmax. Let's try max first, and I'm gonna pass the a, and then I'm gonna print the simply m. You can see we got 1. Argmax and argmin return the index value of the largest and smallest element of a tensor. So if I change the value in here, so max is gonna return the 1. Now you are thinking, why 1? Because this is not a element, this is the index value. Now you got the point, index value. This is only return the index value of elements. If I change this into, let's say, -1, 1, 3 and 9 and 4, so the index value of 9, because this is the maximum element in this list, so the index value of 9 is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now let's run this code. You can see we got 3 because it returns the index value of the list. So now let's use the double dimension to check what it does. So I'm gonna copy this and I'm gonna paste this in here, and I'm gonna change the element into 9, 9, 9 and 9. You can see we got 1 because the biggest list in this array is this. If I change the value into a 0, you can see, okay, now let's 0, -1 and 2, and here I'm gonna change into 1. So you can see now the biggest value is 0, because in here you can see there's no single element which is the negative, so that's why it returns the 0. But if I change the value into negative, you can see we got 1. So that's what argmax and min does. So if I change to max into min, you can see we are gonna get 0 obviously. So let's try this in here. Let's change the value -1, and I'm gonna remove the negative point to here. You can see we got 1 because this is the negative value. That's why this is the minimum elements in this list, or even you can say in the whole array. Okay, that's enough. We learned all of this, and yes, you can use the dimension too. So if I change the, if I add the parameter like dimension, okay, you can see argmin got unexpected keyword argument dimensions. So let's just change into 0. So this is the dimension. So now what is this doing? So let's change the value into 1. Axis 1 is out of bound for array of dimension 1. So in here you can add a dimension and check out the argmin and argmax, because there is only one dimensional array. So if you have a 1, 2 or many dimension array, you can use the dimension in here, but for now I'm gonna use 0. Okay, now let's move on. We learned rounding and comparisons. So first was the round function. It returns the nearest roundest integer, and int is same as the round. Cell is return the smallest integer but in the greater than value, and floor is same as the cell. It returns the greatest integer less than the value, and maximum and minimum returns the maximum and minimum value, and argmin and argmax is return the simply index. Remember, index number of the minimum and maximum value. So that's what the rounding and comparison function do. And now let's move on to the exponents and logarithm. Now I don't like this logarithm, but let's learn the exponents and logarithms. So the first function of exponent and logarithm is square, and remember I add this book link is in the description, so you have to learn this theory part. Don't forget to learn this theory because this is very important, because why you need exponent and algorithm in TensorFlow. Okay, so the first one is square. So obviously this is gonna return the square of the arguments. Let's try a equal to 10 and b equal to tf dot square. Let's pass the a and let's print this shitty b. You can see we got 100 because 10 square is 100. So I'm not gonna talk more about square because you all know what square means. Okay, square the difference. Subtract the first argument from the second and return the square. Again, subtract the first argument from the second and return the square. Let's say equal to 10. I'm gonna copy this. A equal to 10 and b equal to, let's say, 20. So 10 subtract into 20 and then return the square. So 10 minus 20, let's change this into 25. 25 minus 20, we got 5, and 5 square is, let's say, you can see 5 square is 25. So simply the answer in here is 625. Subtract the first argument from the second and return the square. Now you got the point. What these two, it take a 2 argument. Why we got 625? Because 25 square is 625. But if we add the, let's add b and let's try this function. Okay, we got error. TensorFlow has no attribute square difference, so we have to use tf.math dot square the difference. You can see we got 25. Now that you got the point, let's move on. Simply it returns the square, but 25 minus 20 and then return the square. Okay, now let's talk about sqrt. Returns the square root of argument. So if you want to find the square root, you can use this. Let's say equal to 5 and b equal to, let's directly print the tf dot sqrt. Okay, and let's pass the a. Oh, this shitty fucking CPU error again. Let's try this float value. You can see we got 2.32379. so this is the square root of this value. So now you got the point. What a do, it returns the sqrt, return this square root of argument, and again return of the reciprocal of the square root. rsqrt return the reciprocal of the square root. Let's try. Let's say equal to 10, but first we are gonna find the reciprocal. So rec equal to tf dot math dot reciprocal of a. Oops, CPU error. Let's try float value 2.2, and then I'm gonna simply first print the rec. You can see we got 0.0900 so and so, and when I find the square root, so let's say a equal to square root of tf dot sqrt square root of 5, then we got error. Let's try 5.2. so you can see we got 0.438 and so on. So basically what have I done? I first create the square root of 5.2, then create a reciprocal number with this function reciprocal tf.math.reciprocal and pass the a. So the answer is this. Now let's try this function. so we can see how it work. So let's try. First let's say equal to tf.sqrt, and then I'm gonna pass the 5.2 again, same as the here, and b equal to tf.r_sqrt. Okay, TensorFlow is no attribute r_sqrt, so I'm gonna use tf.math.rsqrt and pass this simply, and then I'm gonna simply print this b. You can see we got a 0.66221523. So when I create a square root of this REC number, you can see we still got a 0.66221523. So this is the same stuff. In here I just use the RSQRT, and in here I use a reciprocal number. So that's how you can use the RSQRT, simple SQRT, and square difference and square, and so that's what this for function do. Okay, now let's talk about this function. Now you have to try all of this function in your PC so you can understand better. So now let's move on to the POW. So simply it returns the first tensor raised to the power of the element of the second vector. So this is the return of the power of the value, and I know you all know this function. A equal to let's say 10.2, p equal to let's say tf.pow, and pass the a, print the p. Okay, missing one required positional argument, which is the y. You can see in here we have to enter two parameter, return the element of the first tensor raised to the power of the element of the second vector. So I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna simply pass the value in here, 10 and 20. You can see we got this number. So this is the power of 10 into 20 or something. Now let's change the value to 5. We got this number. Okay, what if I enter a list in here? Let's try this tier 1, 2 and 3, 4. You can see I got 1 and 16, 1 of 3 and 2 of 4. So that's how you can use power function. You can find the power of first to the second value. Now let's try exp, return the exponential function of the argument. Let's try this sheet. Let's say equal to, I'm gonna simply print the, because I'm kind of bored in here. So let's say expr tf.expr. okay, exp, only exp, and then I'm gonna pass the 10. CPU error, you have to add a float value. You can see we got the exponential number of 10.4. So I'm not gonna talk more about this exponential value. Let's try expm1, return the exponential function of the argument minus 1 exp x minus 1. So what does it means? You can see in here, returns to the exponential function of the argument minus 1. I know what this minus, but I'm gonna talk this minus. This is kind of funny. So the return to the exponential function of argument minus 1. So you can see exp of x 10.4 minus 1. So let's try minus 1 minus 1. You can see we got this number, but if I try this, print tf.expm1. okay, so there is no expm1 function, so we have to use math.expm1, and then I'm gonna simply pass the 10.4. You can see we got same this number. It simply create the exponential number -1. Okay, now log 1p. So log returns the logarithm value naturally. Let's say print tf dot log. So TensorFlow has no attribute tf dot log, so let's use tf dot math dot log. Let's add 10.8. You can see we got a 2.379546. This is the logarithm value. I know you guys know what logarithm is, so I'm not gonna talk more about log and stuff because this is the basic stuff of mathematics. And when I print I'm gonna first copy this line to show you guys what log 1p is. Returns the natural logarithm of argument +1. Simply it returns the +1. You can see, let's try +1. You can see we got 3.3795462, and in here let's try log 1p. So we can got we got the different value. Why? X plus 1 is okay. So why we got the different value in here? It returns the natural logarithm of the argument +1. Okay, it returns the argument +1. Okay, so in here I have to add +1 in here. You can see we got the same value. So the problem is it returns the argument +1, not the log +1. It returns the argument +1. So remember all of this stuff. Okay, ERF, it returns the error function of the argument, and ERFC returns the complementary error function of the argument. Let's try this. Print tf dot math dot erf. Let's try 10.23. You can see we got 1.0. Return the error function of the arguments. So it returns the error function. But when I try this into this ERFC, let's just add C. We can got 0.0, which is the complementary error function of the arguments. So that was the function, exponent and logarithm. So that's how you can find log and other stuff, power of maximum and minimum value, argmax, argmin, and lots of stuff we saw today. So that is it for today's guys. In the next video we are gonna talk about vector and matrix operation. This is very important part. So if you skip part 3, don't skip part 4. Now if you skip part 3, you can't hear this message because you can't see the part 3 because this is the part 3. Okay, so don't miss the vector and matrix operation because this is very important. If we want to create a neural network, we have to do some equation. So and then when we done only vector and matrix operation, you have to read all of this, putting theory into practice. I'm gonna talk some few stuff about this, but then we are gonna move on chapter 4, which is the executing graphs in session. Now what is session? So we are gonna talk more about in session, and then we are gonna create a training of data and then analyze the data with static regressions, and finally this is our main goal. We are gonna introduce the neural network and deep learning, which is the very fucking important part of this whole journey. And then we are gonna see classify image with convolutional neural network. This is the very important part. So if you are excited to the neural network and artificial intelligence, so subscribe this channel to support me and hit on the like and the bell icon so you never miss our new video.
Share this video to other programmers. Share this only to that programmer which like artificial intelligence, machine learning and stuff. And share this video to only that programmer who want to be the success in this computer science field. Share this video to that friend who want to create a lot of money. So that is it for today's guys. See you guys in the next video. Hit like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.